Albuquerque, 2075. The city sits at the center of the strangest mystery in modern history. In 2039, something crashed in the desert 30 miles east of the city. Not a satellite, not a weather balloon, something else. The government denies it. But Albuquerque's transformation from struggling desert town to global technology hub happened too fast, too strange, too advanced. This is the investigation into what really happened and what it means for humanity's future. Welcome to the city built on secrets. The official story: severe thunderstorm, ball lightning, meteorite fragments. Move along. But thousands saw it. Brilliant light descending slowly. Too controlled to be falling. Too large to be conventional aircraft. Military locked down 50 square miles within hours. News blackout. Cell towers disabled. The perimeter held for 6 months. When they finally allowed access, Albuquerque had changed. Companies appeared overnight. Technologies emerged that shouldn't exist yet. Explanations that don't explain. Questions that officials won't answer. Something happened in that desert. Within 2 years, Albuquerque became quantum computing capital of the world. Not gradually. Instantly. Companies with no history producing technology decades ahead of competitors. The materials science is inexplicable. Room temperature superconductors. Energy storage densities physics textbooks say are impossible. Processors using architectures nobody can fully explain. Engineers reverse engineered them successfully, but don't understand the principles. The technology works. Why it works remains mystery. Science without understanding. Function without theory. Effects without causes known. Dr. Sarah Chun worked at Sandia National Labs before and after 2039. She won't discuss details, but admits everything changed. The theoretical frameworks we taught in 2038 became obsolete by 2040. Not improved. Obsolete. We're using technologies whose principles we don't understand. We make them work. We just don't know why. She left Sandia in 2045, refusing to work with what she calls borrowed technology we can't explain and shouldn't have. She lives in Mexico now. She agreed to this interview on condition of anonymity. We changed her name. Albuquerque's population exploded. 5 million people now, up from 560,000 in 2020. But the demographics are strange. Unusually high concentration of physicists, engineers, material scientists. Intelligence community presence everywhere. Security clearances required for many jobs. Entire neighborhoods are classified. You can live there, but can't discuss your work with family. Spouses don't know what partners do. Children don't know parents' jobs. Secrecy as culture. Silence as condition of employment. Knowledge compartmentalized. Truth fragmented. Nobody sees whole picture except those we're not allowed to name. The architecture is wrong. Buildings with geometries that feel uncomfortable. Spaces that create subtle disorientation. Structures using golden ratio variations that aren't golden ratio. Close to familiar, but not quite right. Architects we interviewed off-record say designs came from consultants nobody met. Blueprints appeared. Building codes were changed to accommodate unusual specifications. Completed structures function better than traditional designs. Temperature regulation, acoustic properties, energy efficiency, all superior. But they feel alien. Not metaphorically. Literally alien. Human spaces with non-human design principles. Marcus Rodriguez grew up in Albuquerque. He was 14 in 2039. He saw the craft. It wasn't falling. It was landing. Controlled descent. The lights weren't random. They pulsed in patterns. My dad filmed it on his phone. 2 days later, men in suits came to our house. Took the phone. Took our computers. Made us sign papers. I can talk about seeing it. I can't discuss what I saw specifically without legal consequences. I've said too much already. He shows us the NDA. Page 17 prohibits detailed description of observed phenomenon characteristics. The penalty section is redacted entirely. Medical technology advanced inexplicably. Scanners detecting diseases years before symptoms. Treatments using principles biology textbooks don't describe. Regenerative therapies that shouldn't work but do. Albuquerque hospitals have capabilities rivaling anywhere globally. But the equipment interfaces are strange. Controls that aren't intuitive. Displays showing information in arrangements that seem backwards until you use them extensively. Then they make sense, better sense than conventional designs. As if designed for different cognitive architecture. For minds that process information differently. For users who aren't human. The energy grid is impossible. Albuquerque generates 4 times more power than it consumes. Exports electricity to California, Texas, and Mexico. The solar panels look conventional, but efficiency ratings are 30% above theoretical maximum. Storage batteries hold charge densities physics says are impossible. Grid engineers admit they maintain systems they don't fully comprehend. We know which parts to replace when they fail. We don't know how they work fundamentally. The schematics exist, but the principles aren't in any textbook. Reverse engineering has limits. Understanding requires explanation nobody will provide. Communication technology in Albuquerque is decades ahead. Bandwidth that shouldn't be possible. Latency approaching 0. Quantum encryption nobody outside New Mexico understands. Internet speeds 100 times faster than anywhere else. But the infrastructure is strange. Transmission towers with unusual configurations. Cables containing materials spectroscopy can't identify completely. Components marked with symbols that aren't standard notation. Tech companies worldwide study Albuquerque's network. They can replicate components. They can't explain principles. Copy without comprehension. Function without foundation. Technology as cargo cult. Employment contracts in tech sector are alarming. Standard clause. Employee acknowledges exposure to proprietary technologies whose origins are classified. Employee agrees that full understanding of underlying principles is not required for employment and may not be possible during employment term. Another clause. Employee acknowledges that technological knowledge acquired may include concepts for which current scientific frameworks are inadequate. They're admitting it legally. Hidden in legalese. Using technology they don't understand. From sources they won't name. The truth in contracts nobody reads carefully. Children raised in post 2039 Albuquerque show cognitive differences. Standardized tests measure abilities the tests weren't designed to measure. Pattern recognition beyond normal ranges. Spatial reasoning that seems impossible. Comfort with abstract concepts that typically develop later. Educational psychologists are baffled. Is it environment, water, air, or exposure to technologies designed for different minds shaping developing brains? Children adapting to alien interfaces, developing alien capabilities? Nurture by something not nature? Evolution forced by foreign technology? Questions without answers. Children changing. Reasons unknown. The crash site remains restricted. Officially, it's ongoing environmental remediation of hazardous materials. 40 years of cleanup. Perimeter never lifted. Satellite imagery shows structures that weren't there before 2039. Energy signatures that don't match any known source. Thermal patterns inconsistent with claimed activities. We interviewed former military police who served perimeter duty. Off record. Consistently. They describe sounds at night. Vibrations. Lights. One said, whatever was out there wasn't ours. Maybe not anyone's on Earth. He wouldn't elaborate. Fear or NDA? Probably both. Material scientists found anomalies in commercial products. Alloys with ratios that shouldn't be stable. Crystalline structures that form under conditions not reproducible in labs. Molecular arrangements that seem designed not evolved. Trace elements in wrong proportions. Everything functional. Everything slightly wrong. As if someone knew periodic table, but used it differently. Chemistry that works, but shouldn't. Physics that functions, but violates principles. Science finding exceptions. Exceptions suggesting alternative understanding. Alternative suggesting alternative source. Source suggesting not here. Linguistic analysis of technical documentation reveals patterns. Sentence structures that translate awkwardly. Concepts described backwards from how humans would explain them. Analogies that don't quite map to human experience. Translation artifacts. As if original documentation was in another language, then rendered into English imperfectly. But what language? Computer analysis suggests grammatical structures without equivalent in any known language. Syntax implying different logic. Semantics suggesting different conceptual categories. Language betraying non-human thought patterns. Words hiding alien minds. Dreams are common topic in Albuquerque. Recurring dreams of places nobody recognizes. Structures with too many angles. Sky's wrong color. Conversations without words. Shared dreams. Multiple people dreaming similar scenarios without discussing them first. Psychologists document pattern but can't explain it. Jung called it collective unconscious. But why only in Albuquerque? Why only after 2039? Are the technologies broadcasting something? Influencing consciousness? Or are people accessing memories that aren't theirs? Questions making professionals uncomfortable. Dreams suggesting contact. Contact nobody admits. Government position never changed. Weather phenomenon. Meteorite. Classified research unrelated to any crash. Standard denials. But Freedom of Information requests produce documents so heavily redacted they're useless. Budget allocations with line items that are just numbers, no descriptions. Facilities that don't appear on maps, but consume millions annually. Money disappearing into nothing official. Resources going to programs that don't exist. Funding for secrets. Budgets for silence. Economics of denial. Following money leads to walls. Asking questions produces threats. Religious communities in Albuquerque struggle. How does faith explain technologies we don't understand? Churches split over interpretation. Some see it as God's provision, advanced knowledge to help humanity. Others see it as demonic, knowledge humans weren't meant to have. Many simply don't discuss it. The schism is real. Families divided. Congregations fragmenting. Faith confronting evidence it can't incorporate. Theology meeting technology it can't explain. Religion forced to consider possibilities Scripture didn't contemplate. God or aliens, or both or neither. Questions faith wasn't built to answer. Tourism grew strangely. UFO enthusiasts worldwide come to Albuquerque. Hotels full of believers seeking truth. But also scientists, engineers, curious academics. The city embraced it economically while officially denying everything. Museums documenting alleged event. Tours of crash site perimeter. Gift shops selling alien memorabilia. Making money from mystery while maintaining there is no mystery. Capitalizing on what doesn't exist officially. Economic benefit from denied reality. Profiting from truth while calling it fiction. Albuquerque's economy built on both sides of truth. Addiction patterns changed. Traditional substances decreased. But new addictions emerged. People obsessed with technologies. Spending hours interacting with interfaces. Behavior resembling addiction, but to what? The devices themselves? Something the devices emit? Neurologists find altered brain chemistry in heavy users. Changes that don't match traditional addiction patterns. As if brains are adapting to foreign input. Becoming dependent on signals that aren't addictive by normal criteria. Addiction to alien stimuli. Dependency on non-human systems. Brains seeking something evolution didn't prepare them for. New pathology for new situation. Whistleblowers emerge periodically. Each time, controversy erupts. Then, they recant, or disappear, or die in accidents that seem suspicious. Pattern is consistent. Someone speaks. Media attention follows. Then silence. Retraction, or death, or vanishing. The timing is remarkable. Statistical improbability becomes certainty. Speaking has consequences. Truth has price. Some pay it. Others learn the lesson. Most stay silent. Self-censorship from watching others punished. Fear maintaining secrecy more effectively than NDAs. Terror as truth suppression. Murder as motivation. Death as deterrent. Silence bought with blood. International intelligence interested intensely. Russian, Chinese, European agents identified in Albuquerque regularly. Industrial espionage at unprecedented levels. Everyone trying to steal what Albuquerque has. But stolen technologies fail when moved elsewhere. Components don't work outside New Mexico. As if geographically dependent. As if something local necessary for function. Theories range from environmental factors to intentional geo-locking by original providers. Technologies that won't export. Knowledge that won't transfer. Gift with geographic strings attached. Technology imprisoned in desert. Help that won't leave. Advantage that can't be taken elsewhere. Military presence is massive but unofficial. Bases listed as administrative facilities, house thousands. Aircraft without markings. Convoys at night. Maneuvers in restricted zones. All coincidental according to official statements. But everyone knows. You don't discuss it. Asking questions identifies you as someone who asks questions. Better to not notice. Better to accept. Better to ignore obvious. Culture of deliberate blindness. Seeing without acknowledging. Knowing without speaking. Truth everyone knows nobody says. Reality hidden by social agreement. Camouflage as consensus. The economic boom created winners and losers. Tech workers wealthy beyond dreams. Service workers struggling with inflated costs. Housing crisis devastating. Homeless population increased despite prosperity. Inequality extreme. Economic apartheid. Parallel economies in same city. Those with clearances and those without. Information as class marker. Access as wealth determiner. Knowledge creating caste system. Understanding defining hierarchy. Knowing determining status. Economy divided by secrets. Class based on clearances. Poverty from ignorance literally. Wealth from knowing officially. Money following mystery. Health outcomes improved mysteriously. Cancer rates 30% below national average. Autoimmune conditions decreased. Longevity increased 5 years. Medical community can't explain it. Diet hasn't changed significantly. Exercise rates normal. Environmental factors mostly negative. Desert climate, pollution. Yet population healthier. As if exposure to something protective. Technologies emitting beneficial radiation. Water containing trace elements. Air with properties undetected. Or intentional health benefits from providers who care about welfare of reverse engineers. Help disguised as technology. Medicine hidden in machines. Healing through use. Questions medical science avoids asking. Academic freedom constrained. Universities receiving defense funding sign agreements limiting research topics. Published papers require clearance. Graduate students working on certain projects vanish into classified world. Academia becoming extension of security state. Knowledge pursuit limited by national security. Science constrained by secrecy. Research directed by unstated agendas. Truth-seeking hobbled by truth-protecting. University of New Mexico faculty describe walking on eggshells. Ask wrong questions, lose funding. Pursue wrong answers, lose position. Education free, except where it matters. Science permitted, except where it discovers. Academia bought. Time perception altered, reported by many. Clocks running normally, but subjective experience of duration wrong. Hours feeling like minutes in certain facilities. Days compressing inexplicably. As if localized time dilation. Physics that shouldn't happen but might be experienced. Relativity at walking speeds. Time malleability without velocity. Or psychological effect from environmental factors. Or temporal manipulation by technologies. Explanations range from mundane to exotic. But experience is consistent. Time feels wrong near certain buildings. Duration inconsistent with clocks. Experience time diverging from measured time. Reality fracturing at temporal seams. Fauna behavior changed. Birds avoid certain areas. Dogs bark at empty spaces. Wildlife patterns shifted. Biologists notice but don't publish. Animals sensing what humans measure with instruments. Creatures detecting fields or radiation or presence. Instinct recognizing danger civilization ignores. Nature's warning humanity dismisses. Animals knowing what scientists deny. Or animals sensing beings humans can't detect. Fauna as detectors. Wildlife as sensors. Creatures as instruments. Biology revealing what technology hides. Nature's testimony science won't hear. Animals speaking. Humans refusing to listen. Skeptics remain. Many explanations don't require aliens. Classified human research. Black budget programs. Experimental technologies. Psychological operations. Everything can be explained conventionally with enough creativity and cynicism. Government lies are nothing new. Military secrecy is standard. Advanced tech exists in classified world decades before public release. Maybe nothing alien happened. Maybe just very secret human programs. Maybe mystery is misdirection. Maybe truth is boring. Maybe. But statistics say otherwise. Probability calculations suggest otherwise. Too many coincidences. Too many anomalies. Too many impossibilities. Conventional explanations requiring more faith than exotic ones. The ultimate question, does it matter? Whether alien, domestic, or something else, Albuquerque transformed. Technologies exist. Economics shifted. Society changed. Whatever the source, consequences are real. Whether we have alien technology is almost irrelevant to whether we benefit from it. Truth might be less important than effect. Origin matters less than application. Where it came from matters less than where it's taking us. Albuquerque proves that. Mystery unsolved, but prosperity undeniable. Questions unanswered, but progress unmistakable. Truth hidden, but future bright. Not knowing not preventing living. Uncertainty not stopping advancement. Yet the truth matters psychologically. Humans need to understand. Not knowing creates anxiety. Mystery breeds paranoia. Secrecy corrodes trust. Democracy requires transparency. Science requires replicability. Ethics requires consent. We're using technologies we don't fully understand, possibly from sources we can't acknowledge, for purposes we haven't agreed to. Whatever benefits they provide, the lack of informed consent is troubling. We're lab subjects without enrollment, experiment participants without agreement, guinea pigs without permission, morality of progress questionable when agency removed. Families divide over beliefs. Parents who saw 2039 event know something happened. Children raised in official denial think parents are conspiracy theorists. Siblings split. Marriages strained. Holiday dinners awkward. Truth creating domestic conflict. Some families simply don't discuss it. Topics off limits. Questions unasked. Peace through silence. Unity through ignorance. Harmony through avoidance. Family bonds stronger than truth-seeking. Love more important than knowing. Relationships prioritized over reality. Human choosing connection over understanding. Survival through selective blindness. Family as refuge from questions without answers. Insurance industry confused. How to calculate risk for unknown technologies. Actuarial tables useless for unprecedented situations. Coverage disputes constant. Policies exclude damage from non-terrestrial sources now. Legal language acknowledging possibility while denying actuality. Insurance explicitly not covering alien technology incidents while claiming no such technology exists. Schrodinger's coverage, simultaneously covering and not covering same impossibility. Legal paradox as business model. Contracts denying what they protect against. Words creating loopholes for non-existent eventualities. Insurance industry admitting what government denies through disclaimers. Real estate disclosure laws amended. Sellers must disclose proximity to facilities conducting classified research. Houses near restricted zones sell at discount. Location determining value by security classification proximity. Geography as risk factor. Property values reflecting undiscussed dangers. Market pricing, what official statements deny. Economics betraying security state. Capitalism forcing admission through prices. Truth hiding in real estate listings. Reality visible in property values. Housing market as truth detector. Prices as lie detector. Money speaking what mouths won't. Economics honest where government isn't. Mental health professionals overwhelmed. Cognitive dissonance epidemic. Patients knowing something contradicting what they're told. Experiencing reality that official narrative denies. Gaslit by government. Sanity questioning from discrepancy between experience and explanation. Therapists helping patients accept uncertainty. Normalize not knowing. Functional despite mystery. Psychological health despite epistemological crisis. Living with unresolved questions. Thriving amid contradictions. Mental wellness without coherent worldview. Sanity redefined as acceptance of confusion. Health as tolerance for contradiction. Adjustment as giving up on understanding. Photography, anomalies persist. Digital cameras malfunction near certain facilities. Images show artifacts that shouldn't exist. Blur patterns inconsistent with motion. Color spectrums outside normal range. Electromagnetic interference that film cameras don't experience. But film shows different anomalies, exposure inconsistencies, light sources without apparent origin. Every medium captures something wrong, as if reality itself is distorted. Space or time, or both behaving abnormally. Cameras as reality detectors. Technology revealing what eyes miss or normalize. Truth visible to instruments. Hidden to consciousness. Photography betraying reality's compromises. Sleep patterns changed population-wide. Albuquerque residents average 40 minutes less sleep nightly, but report feeling rested. Sleep studies show unusual brain wave patterns during REM. Activity that doesn't match established categories. As if new sleep stage. Or sleep serving different function. Or rest coming from source beside sleep. Residents exposed to something restorative technology emits. Brains processing differently under alien influence. Or consciousness accessing information during sleep from non-local sources. Sleep science finding exceptions. Exceptions suggesting alternative. Alternative suggesting intervention. Intervention suggesting helpers nobody admits exist. Water supply is monitored intensely. Constant testing. Parameters measured that aren't standard. Results classified. Water Department employees sign NDAs about testing protocols. Levels of what? Testing for what? Questions unanswered. Municipal water healthier than anywhere. Contaminant levels 0, beyond detection limits. Mineral balance optimal, but also trace elements that shouldn't be there. Components spectroscopy identifies, but chemistry doesn't explain. Water with properties. Properties with effects. Effects unexplained. Everyone drinks it daily. Nobody knows what's in it completely. Health through ignorance. Wellness through not asking. Life sustained by mystery. Pets behave strangely. Dogs staring at nothing. Cats reacting to empty spaces. Animals tracking movement humans don't see. Or sensing presence humans can't detect. Or perceiving in spectrums humans lack. Every pet owner in Albuquerque has stories. Dismissed as normal pet behavior. But statistical clustering suggests otherwise. Veterinarians notice, but don't document officially. Animals sensing what instruments measure, but humans ignore. Fauna as detectors of non-human presence. Pets as early warning system. Creatures knowing what people deny. Biology revealing what psychology represses. Animals honest, where humans lie to themselves. Language is changing. New vocabulary emerging. Technical terms without etymology. Words appearing in documentation without definition. Jargon that didn't exist becoming standard. Linguists trace terms to Albuquerque Post, 2039. spreading to global technical communities from single geographic origin. Language evolution happening too fast, too focused, too specific to technologies. As if vocabulary imported with technologies. Words arriving with knowledge. Terms accompanying understanding. Language suggesting non-human concepts translated imperfectly. Vocabulary as evidence. Etymology as admission. Words betraying alien origins through their novelty and precision. Aging population shows anomalies. Residents over 50 who've lived in Albuquerque since 2039 age slower than statistical norms. Biological age lagging chronological age by average 3 years. Telomeres longer. Cellular senescence delayed. Gerontologists baffled. Environmental factors don't explain magnitude. Diet unchanged. Exercise normal. Yet aging slowed measurably, as if exposure to something protective. Technology emitting anti-aging radiation? Water containing longevity factors? Air with properties? Or intentional gift from providers? Youth as side effect? Immortality as byproduct? Questions gerontology can't answer. Aging defeated accidentally. Death delayed mysteriously. Financial markets confused by Albuquerque. Stock valuations don't follow normal patterns. Tech companies valued on technologies whose principles aren't understood. Investors buying into mysteries. But returns are real. Profits undeniable. Market rewarding what it doesn't comprehend. Capitalism functioning without understanding. Money chasing effects ignoring causes. Wall Street admitting through investment what science denies through skepticism. Finance honest about mystery where academia pretends certainty. Markets pricing in alien technology while never saying it. Economics as truth detector. Investment as admission. Capital flows revealing what official statements hide. Money following mystery to profit. Indigenous communities have perspectives ignored. Pueblo elders speak of star people visiting since time immemorial. Traditional knowledge includes contact stories, but academia dismisses as mythology. Post-2039, some elders say star people returned. They never left. They were always here. You just didn't see them before. Now you have to see them because they want you to. Oral traditions containing truth written history denies. Indigenous epistemology providing answers Western science refuses. Native knowledge validated by events. Traditional understanding proven by technology. Mythology revealing itself as history. Stories becoming evidence. Legends becoming facts. Elders knowing truth academics deny. Birth rates increased unexpectedly. Fertility treatments more successful. Conception rates higher. But also births with unusual characteristics. Nothing harmful opposite. Infants healthier. Fewer complications. Neonatal mortality lowest in nation. As if environment optimized for healthy reproduction. Or exposure to something protective for developing life. Obstetrics finding patterns without explanations. Fertility enhanced mysteriously. Reproduction aided by unknown factors. Babies thriving unusually. Next generation healthier from conception. Evolution accelerated. Genetics improved. Species upgraded. Questions medicine won't articulate. Improvements nobody admits receiving. Health from unknown source. Children as evidence of intervention. Art community influenced subtly. Painters creating geometries they didn't study. Sculptors producing forms they can't explain. Musicians composing in scales that aren't traditional. Writers using syntax that's unconventional but compelling. Creativity accessing something. Inspiration from where? Artists describe downloading rather than creating. Receiving rather than inventing. Channeling rather than imagining. As if consciousness expanded. Or ideas arriving from elsewhere. Or creativity augmented by presence. Muses that aren't metaphorical. Inspiration that's literal external influence. Art as contact evidence. Creativity as communication channel. Beauty as message from elsewhere. Suicide rates dropped dramatically. Mental health crisis nationwide, but not in Albuquerque. Depression treated more successfully. Despair less common. Hope more prevalent. Psychological resilience higher. Therapists can't explain it fully. Medications work better. Therapy more effective. But also intangible factors. Sense of purpose from living in significant place. Meaning from proximity to mystery. Importance from being part of historical moment. Or neurological effects from exposure. Brain chemistry altered beneficially. Consciousness lifted mysteriously. Depression as chemical condition altered by environmental factors nobody admits. Health through exposure. Wellness through presence. Happiness from mystery. Military recruitment changed. Albuquerque youth score higher on aptitude tests. Physical and cognitive measures both elevated. Military confused why. Recruits from New Mexico outperform nationally. Pattern consistent. As if population enhanced. Training faster. Learning quicker. Performing better. Military doesn't investigate why openly, but takes advantage quietly. Special units recruiting exclusively from Albuquerque. Elite forces preferring New Mexico personnel. Military knowing something without saying it. Using evidence without acknowledging it. Benefiting from enhancement without admitting enhancement. Exploiting what they deny exists. Using improvements they won't explain. Weaponizing mystery. Weather patterns altered locally. Albuquerque receives 30% more rain than surrounding areas. Temperatures moderated. Climate extremes reduced. Meteorologists note microclimates shouldn't exist naturally. No geographic features explaining it. Air circulation models don't predict it. Yet measurements confirm it. As if weather being managed. Climate controlled locally. Atmosphere manipulated beneficially. Technology operating at environmental scale. Engineering weather without admission. Climate management without acknowledgement. Nature improved secretly. Environment optimized quietly. Weather controlled for population welfare. Rain as evidence. Temperature as proof. Climate as testimony to intervention. The verdict is impossible to render definitively. Evidence suggests something extraordinary. Official statements deny everything. Truth lies somewhere between. Maybe alien technology. Maybe black-budget human programs. Maybe something nobody's imagined. Certainty is impossible with available information. But transformation is undeniable. Albuquerque changed fundamentally. Technologies exist that shouldn't. Health improved mysteriously. Society transformed radically. Whether alien or domestic or other, consequences are real. Whatever happened in 2039 shaped 2075. Mystery unsolved, but effects unmistakable. Questions unanswered, but changes undeniable. Truth hidden, but reality visible. Not knowing source, not preventing impact. Yet the search for truth continues. Researchers accumulating evidence. Whistleblowers risking everything. Citizens demanding answers. Government maintaining denials. Stalemate persisting. But information leaking gradually. Secrets harder to keep with time. Younger generation less willing to maintain silence. Technology making surveillance and documentation easier. Truth has momentum. Lies have inertia. Eventually momentum overcomes inertia. Eventually truth emerges. Maybe not in our lifetime, but eventually. The question isn't whether we'll know, it's when. And what knowing will mean for humanity's understanding of our place in universe. Contact hypothesis raises profound questions. If aliens share technology, why Albuquerque? Why Earth? Why now? Benevolence or manipulation? Help or intervention? Gift or tool for unknown purposes? Are we recipients or pawns? Partners or subjects? Beneficiaries or experiment? Questions without answers, but implications are massive. If contact happened, human history divides into before and after, pre-contact and post-contact. Nothing remains same once we know we're not alone, even if we don't know yet officially, even if truth is hidden, even if denied. Reality changed whether acknowledged or not. Universe revealed whether admitted or not. Skepticism remains valid. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Nothing presented here proves alien contact definitively. Conventional explanations exist for everything individually. Collectively, the pattern is suspicious, but not conclusive. Coincidence piles up, but doesn't equal proof. Anomalies accumulate, but don't constitute certainty. Science demands rigor. Burden of proof lies with claimants. Fair position. Rational stance. But also, absence of proof isn't proof of absence. Not having evidence doesn't mean nothing happened. Inability to prove doesn't mean untrue. Skepticism valid. But so is investigation. Question is which side has burden when government actively hides information. Other cities watch Albuquerque with mix of envy and suspicion. Envy for prosperity, technology, health outcomes. Suspicion for how it happened. Some cities try replicating conditions, recruiting scientists, building facilities, offering incentives. Nothing works. The advantage isn't replicable. Whatever Albuquerque has is unique to Albuquerque. Geographic, historical, accidental, intentional gift that can't transfer, help that won't spread, advantage that's exclusive, questions other cities ask, answers Albuquerque won't provide, secret that won't export, success that won't share, uniqueness that isolates, prosperity that creates resentment, advancement that threatens through exclusivity. Education, curriculum changed. Schools teach critical thinking about information sources. Media literacy emphasized. Evaluate official statements skeptically. Question authority appropriately. Trust but verify. Next generation raised to think independently. Not accept narratives uncritically. Albuquerque teaching children to navigate world where truth is contested. Reality is uncertain. Authority isn't trustworthy. Epistemological crisis as educational curriculum. Philosophy as survival skill. Critical thinking as necessary tool. Children learning to live with uncertainty. Students mastering functioning despite confusion. Education preparing for world where truth is hidden. Schools teaching how to seek, not what to find. The impact on science is profound. Entire fields recognizing their inadequacy. Physics admitting limitations. Biology acknowledging gaps. Chemistry conceding mysteries. Scientific humility forced by evidence that theories don't accommodate. Not science failing. Science encountering phenomena it hasn't developed frameworks for yet. Growing pains of expanding knowledge. Discomfort of discovering how much remains unknown. Albuquerque forcing science to admit uncertainty. Humility valuable scientifically. Admitting ignorance, first step to learning. Recognizing limits enables transcending them. Science stronger for acknowledging weakness. Knowledge advancing through admitting gaps. Progress through confession of inadequacy. Religion finding new relevance unexpectedly. If aliens exist, theological implications are massive. Are they God's children too? Did Christ die for them? Do they have souls? Questions theology must address. Some denominations embrace possibility. Others reject it. Many struggle. But religion offering what science can't, meaning frameworks, purpose narratives, value systems. Even if aliens exist, humans need meaning. Technology doesn't provide that. Knowledge doesn't grant purpose. Understanding doesn't create values. Religion addressing what science won't. Meaning what knowledge can't. Purpose what technology doesn't. Faith relevant not despite mystery, but because of it. Theology needed more when cosmology expands. Geopolitics shifting subtly. America's technological edge increasingly dependent on Albuquerque. National security tied to single city. Military capability relying on technologies from contested source. Strategic vulnerability obvious. Allies and adversaries both recognize it. China and Russia studying Albuquerque intently. Trying to understand. Trying to replicate. Trying to catch up. But can't. Gap widening. American advantage growing. But advantage based on something America doesn't fully control or understand. Power built on borrowed technology. Strength from unknown source. Dominance from dependency. Victory that's simultaneously vulnerability. Winning while not understanding why. Future scenarios range from utopian to apocalyptic. Best case. Benevolent aliens helping humanity transcend limitations. Worst case. Manipulation for purposes we don't comprehend. Middle scenarios, countless. Maybe nothing alien happened, just classified human achievement. Maybe something did, but intentions are unclear. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe knowing would be worse than mystery. Certainty might be more frightening than uncertainty. Truth might be harder to accept than speculation. Not knowing allows hope. Knowing might require confronting uncomfortable reality. Sometimes mystery is kinder than revelation. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Sometimes questions are better than answers. Albuquerque residents live with contradiction, experiencing one reality, told another, seeing evidence, hearing denial, knowing something, told nothing. Most adapt, compartmentalize, accept duality, function despite confusion. Few can't handle it, leave or break, but majority manage. Humans are adaptable. We live with cognitive dissonance. We function despite contradictions. We survive uncertainty. We thrive amid mystery. Albuquerque proves human resilience, psychological strength, adaptive capacity. We're tougher than we think, more flexible than we imagine, more capable than we knew. Mystery not destroying, uncertainty not breaking, unknown not defeating. Humans adapting, surviving, living, thriving even, despite everything. Albuquerque 2075 is mystery wrapped in enigma, housed in denial. Something happened. Something extraordinary. Something unexplained. Whether alien technology or classified human achievement or something stranger, truth remains hidden. Government won't admit. Evidence won't prove. Mystery persists. But life continues. People thrive. Technology advances. Society functions. Not knowing not preventing living. Uncertainty not stopping progress. Mystery not ending prosperity. Albuquerque succeeds despite, because of, the questions it won't answer. Welcome to the city built on secrets, where the impossible happened, and everyone pretends it didn't. The future is here, just not admitted yet. This has been Albuquerque 2075. Desert cities, alien technology? The truth is out there. Probably. Maybe. We think. The government says no. The evidence says maybe. You decide.